Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and today I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Gemini. It's like, wait, Gemini, yes, Gemini. And if Gemini is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's get started. All right. Okay, let's see what these tea leaves have to say today. Gemini, Gemini, Gemini. All right, so we have the Eight of Discs, and this has to do with prudence, which is a lot about, well, in my mind, it's always like, okay, saving money time. But this could also be like new job opportunities. Being adaptable, flexible, having a dedication to your work, your path, and just working on being more and more self-sustaining, which is a big deal, right? That's something that is pretty important. Something I didn't think about working on until I was like 30 years old. And even still, I falter once in a while. Okay, let's see. Oh, goodness. All right, so I want to look at so I feel like we have, well, first let's look at the tree, okay? We have a tree here. And it looks like a person, it looks like a tree. Listen, this is exactly what we have over here. You can see, we have a tree, we have a tree. There's a sense of fortifying self, right? Being strong, rooted, staying the course, right? Setting your intentions, setting goals, meeting the goals, doing the work, not being distracted by whatever, putting aside those feelings of, wanting to do frivolous things, put money into frivolous things, acting a fool and all that. Okay, there's always a time and a place for that. Right now is not it. We're in a bit of a serious mode. You have to button up that collar and get to it, right? And I'm really the worst person to give this advice. And I said before about self-sustaining. Now, I've always taken care of myself since I was, 18 years old or whatever, whenever I left. As soon as I could, I did. I took off. And, I've always, one way or another, taken care of myself. Nobody has ever done that. Nobody's ever taken care of me, I should say. Just to be clear. But sometimes, I've been better at it. And sometimes I have, been eating ramen. Thankfully, a little bit better than ramen lately. Okay. But, I'm no stranger to scraping by. I think we just go through these modes, and I am not unlike most people who, like to be frivolous and fun and do the things they want to do. And, I've said in other readings, nothing used to make me happier than quitting a job that I did not like, But, you know, I got older and sometimes I have to work jobs I don't like. And that's just what it is. But, you know, I think you're going through a phase where something's happened. Okay. I don't think it's anything big, but I think there's been a wake-up call. Maybe you missed a bill. Maybe there's a kid on the way. You know, maybe you are going through a rite of passage. I don't know. You know, getting married, thinking about it, buying a house, thinking about it. Who can afford that? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you can. But, you know, so there's this thing in your mind thinking, okay, I better start kind of saving some money. Maybe I need to get another job. Maybe I need to be a little more frugal. Okay. And I think, you know, it is in your mind, it is like becoming that tree, becoming a solid, grounded, rooted being. Okay. Now I look at this and I think, my goodness, we have a wolf right here, and this is emotional, spiritual, but then this is what I was like, okay, what's going on here? Now we have the wolf on top of a person who is lying here. Okay. So it seems like there's somebody, and I feel like this is in your emotional life. Maybe somebody you've been dating, maybe somebody you used to date, maybe, you know, somebody, I don't know. It feels like a love thing though. And it seems like they are really like that wolf in sheep's clothing. Or maybe they're just a wolf altogether, and that's what you like. You kind of like those, you know, a little more sharp, a little more rough, a little more, you know, I don't know how to explain somebody like that without being without being a little rude. Somebody who's aggressive. Okay, maybe a little bit self-serving. Hey, you know, we've all gone through those phases where we are attracted to that kind of thing. Maybe I have, I don't know. I haven't really ever, but you know, I'm sure it can happen, right? And it does, because I know people. I have no other human beings, and I know that I've seen that happen to other people for sure. And it can happen to the best of us, especially if somebody is kind of hiding who and what they are, right? Now, should we expect that everybody has the potential to be the wolf in sheep's clothing? Wolf in sheep's clothing? Yes. Because we all do have the potential to be that. All right. And maybe it is their coping mechanism. That doesn't make it okay. But, you know, you got to watch out for yourself, especially if somebody shows you little glimpses of what they're really like. We are so good at excusing people for their weird behaviors. Not weird, not like, I always say weird, and it's not good weird, because I like weird. I would say I would classify myself as a weird person, but icky weird, creepy, possessive, narcissistic, predatory, right? People will show us this. They will. And we want to think, oh, they're having a bad day. Or, oh, they were like, right? They dated somebody that really like hurt them. So this is why they behave that way. Or they had a tough childhood. So that's kind of why they treat people the way they do. No. I mean, that might be true. It's not okay though. It's not okay. You wouldn't want that for, you know, your most beloved friend. You wouldn't want them treated that way. Why would you let somebody treat you that way? You know, and sometimes you suddenly wake up in a situation where, you know, things are bad. Now, I've never had the wolf person necessarily, but I have had some bad experiences. Don't let me fool you on that. So I understand. Sometimes you wake up and you're in a situation and you're like, okay, how did this happen? I was never that person that was going to allow somebody to treat me that way. Right? But it happens. And then, right, and then our brain, we start thinking, well, you know, this is maybe why I should be a more understanding person, or I'm financially tied to this person, or I'm scared if I leave, you know, or you do leave, you break up, and then you spend your life scared that they're going to show up again. I have one or two of those. They're not wolves, but they're, you know. I don't even want to think about it because I feel like just saying that now I'm going to be freaked out they're going to hear this. You know, it really does happen like that. And it sucks, right? So I feel like we have an energy of, first of all, and I see a check, as I'm just about to say, there's a check mark. Check in with yourself throughout your life. Is this an active situation? Okay. Do you feel safe? Do you have a support system? You know, I haven't had a reading in a while where I've talked about this kind of stuff, but, you know, I've read a lot about people who have to have exit plans. You know, they have to plan in secret financially and this kind of thing. Hopefully that's not what this is. I don't feel like it's going in that level of, you know, but I feel like there is a sense of this person can act out towards you. So I want you to make sure that you're safe before you do anything, make any kind of movements, right? Just please be careful. Be safe. Hopefully, like I said, and you know, when you get in situations like that, people, they slowly isolate you. But, you know, there are ways to find resources, you know, and if you start to notice this stuff from the beginning, please believe yourself before you get too into it. You know, and so often it's like the nicest people. Everybody else thinks, oh, they're so wonderful. They're so well-spoken. They're so insightful. They're so approachable. They have such calm voices or whatever it is, you know. They don't know that person behind the scenes. They don't know that person, you know, behind closed doors. So we have to be careful, right? And, you know, so I want you to keep your eyes open here, okay? I can't give a lot of advice. I'm not, you know, in a place where I'm not, you know, licensed therapist, counselor, anything like that. But I can tell you, I know these things go on a lot. We all know that. You are loved, you are believed. Even if I don't know your story directly, you know. I just want to be so careful with people when I'm saying things, you know. And it's like I'm not trying to dance around it, but I also don't want to say something that's very triggering either, you know. So I just look at this, and that's the thing. Just, you know, think about what you need to do. Please reach out to the people if this is the case. If not, if this is something in the past, you're on a healing path, right? Again, though, please get the help that you need. Talk to people. Continue to talk to people when you're ready. Okay? Don't feel like you can't tell your story. Don't feel like you can't. There's this thing we also do. We diminish the seriousness of what we've been through sometimes. Not because, you know, it's not necessarily conscious, but it's a coping mechanism, but it's also like people don't necessarily respond well to trauma, especially people in our own lives, right? They might have experienced the situations that we're going through completely differently than we are. Or they just didn't recognize it. It makes them uncomfortable when you talk about it. But don't stop talking about it, okay? Don't. Get that out of you. Purge. If you have the ability to go to a therapist or anything like that, go, please. A support group. You know, I'm not like a sponsor, or I don't have a sponsorship with Reddit, but I do talk about Reddit a lot because there is the ability to be fairly anonymous. So if you create an account that doesn't have anything to do, none of your screen names should match your email. Make your own email just for that. Don't use the phone number or anything. Anything identifiable. So you can have an anonymous account. And then you can find subreddits on there. You don't even have to share. Just go and read. Find some commonality, kinship. Do not dox yourself, though. Do not give anybody any particulars about, you know, unless you are comfortable, you know, sharing things about yourself. But there are ways to stay anonymous and ways to find support. Okay, and Reddit for me is one of the places that I've looked, not for that stuff necessarily, but well, some things, right? But they're all things that I talk about. Like, I'm in recovery, right? Substance abuse recovery, self-harm. You know, I've had mental health issues and things like this. Okay, a lot of death in my family. I was orphaned at a young age. So I need a lot of different kinds of support depending on what's going on in my life. And I found on Reddit that this is a place where I found some, without having to get super involved, finding support from people. Now, you also have to be discerning because there are people on there that just post BS, right? But there are people who are on there in earnest looking for support and to lend support. So, good place for you to go. But again, I don't have a sponsorship with them, so it's not like the perfect website by any means. Now, we have a goose here. We have an A. And on this side, it turns into almost two people embracing. And I almost feel like this is not romantic. This feels, though, like family. The love of family. With the goose, we have prosperity, okay? Kind of, if you think, laying the eggs. And although, do people eat goose eggs? I don't know. If you know, tell me. But we have, a sense of, maybe it's eating the goose is what's, that's sad, kind of. I just thought, like, maybe it's the actual goose. But yes, it's a sign of prosperity, abundance, okay? Now, we also have the A. That could be a name, that could be a word, a sacred utterance. And then over here, we have that tree again, but as I look at it, I see some birds, and then I see more birds. Okay, so I'm looking at it and now I'm realizing it's full of birds as well. So there's a lot of messaging coming through to you. Okay, I feel like you, something has gotten through to you. Okay, something has happened where I think that you feel like there's something, and if this is not about somebody that you're in love with or whatever, maybe it's at work and you just realize you're in a toxic situation. You got to get out of there. Whatever it is though, I feel like you are acutely aware. Okay, and so the planning is important. Okay. Now we have some fish, and we have a person kind of standing here looking at them. So again, with the prosperity, longevity, good health, and so I feel like through this, you know, this little corridor that you're going through that feels difficult, it maybe even feels very like it's a confrontational realization. I think that you will adjust your life in such a way where you're going to ultimately be better off. Okay. Sometimes we have to just wake up to these things and realize this absolutely will not do. Okay. I cannot live like this anymore. If it's a little tiny thing or if it's a huge thing, right? It doesn't matter. Somewhere on the spectrum. You know, this is part of the process of self-evolution, is that we go through these little awakenings and these little deaths constantly. Okay. And we have to keep moving with it. There's no other way, right? So we have the Earthbound Oracle cards here, and I'm going to go ahead and just pick one of those and see how it punctuates the reading. And I'm going to stop where it feels right. Okay, let's see. We have Wisdom. There we go. Wisdom has met you. It has come to you, and I really do believe that this message, and we have the bird again, right? So the message is really coming through, and I think you've received it, and with that knowledge being transmuted into the wisdom, you're going to make good use of it. Okay. You know, and it maybe really will be the thing that saves this part of your life. I'm not going to say this is going to save your whole life. I'm not going to be that dramatic, but I do think that you will save yourself a lot of pain if you act on your intuition here. Okay. All right. I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it helps us get into the algorithm, and that helps us, well, it helps the channel. How's it? Sometimes I'm saying this and I'm like, oh, I stumble over my words. It helps the channel because the algorithm really just decides like where these videos go, if they get recommended, whatever. So the algorithm is really stimulated by engagement, and these are things like liking the video, watching the readings from the beginning to the end, sharing the readings on other social media platforms. If you haven't subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next videos are coming out. Between now and the next one, if you want to watch your other placements, your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising, your Venus for love, or your if you want to do cross watching for your loved ones, you are very welcome to do that. And if you want to leave a comment, please do. I read all of them. They mean so much to me. They truly do. And I thank you for everybody who's been giving us prayers and support. Our family's been going through some things. Myself, my husband, shout out to Paul over at Dove and Serpent Tarot. He's fine. I'm fine. Our daughter's fine. But in our greater family, there is a serious health issue. And, you know, I just feel really brokenhearted, and I know it sounds like I'm pretty cheerful, and I am while I'm doing my readings, but I'm pretty devastated, I have to say. And on top of that, the things going on in the world right now, it's like really, you know, I could cry literally at this moment. I just, so anyways, you know, I thank you all for the support. I really do. Okay. All right. I love you. I love you. I love you. And we will talk in just a few days.